Gemini season marks the conclusion of spring in the northern hemisphere. This is when things are heating up a little and summer is right around the corner. Springtime is the energy of new life bursting out onto the world stage, where the earth is buzzing with energy. Pollinators like honeybees and butterflies are most active during this time of year, and it's their acts of gathering and dispersing pollen which connect the natural world and facilitate the proliferation of all its bounty and beauty. Without this critical link in the natural system, plant life couldn't produce fruit. Gemini embodies that sense of connectivity for the people around them. They often play a crucial role in the world as information bearers, where they gather and communicate important knowledge. Much like butterflies and bumblebees are vital parts of our ecosystem for their roles collecting pollen and nectar, Geminis are relied upon for their ability to apprehend small details and swiftly spread their knowledge. Part of their ability to communicate so effectively comes from the fact that Gemini is ruled by the versatile and intellectual planet Mercury. If you'd like to learn more about Gemini's connection with Mercury, you can check out my other video titled Gemini and Virgo, Your Planet, which is linked in the description. The astrological year actually begins with this season. Our secular new year in the West is, of course, January 1st, but for at least 2 millennia now, astrologers have been marking the beginning of the year on the spring equinox. Gemini season is the time in the cycle of nature when the world has been reborn. This period of the year is characterized by an abundance of activity as flora is in full fertile bloom and fauna is busy making the most of natural resources after returning from migration or hibernation. It evokes the phrase social butterfly because this is the time of year when all of the natural world is interacting with each other. There's so much of this energy around, you can literally see it floating in the air. Gemini season is peak pollen season, which is essentially the way trees and flowers socialize and reach out to each other and reproduce. And this natural seasonal symbology contributes to that iconic, outgoing vibe which characterizes the zodiac sign Gemini, and their interest in the proliferation of thoughts and ideas and knowledge among their social contacts. Spring is the season of creativity and new beginnings, and this manifests in Gemini as a very inventive streak where they're often quite clever at aggregating all their accumulated knowledge and applying it to some kind of ingeniously creative pursuit. Geminis typically have brilliant minds and are delightfully original in the way they bring novel concepts to the world. Spring represents youth and innocence. Gemini season can be symbolized in terms of the human life cycle as adolescence. If you think about how teenagers behave, their primary concerns are socializing, experimenting, discovering who they are and their place in the world. And as they go through that process, their identities can be quite fluid and malleable. Kids at that age might dye their hair pink or have a goth phase or flit around between a bunch of different friend groups searching for who they fit in with, or take up 10 different hobbies all at once. And they're using all those experiences to gather information about the world and about themselves. They're figuring out what works and what doesn't. Gemini does this as well. They're often highly adaptable and can morph themselves to fit into a wide variety of circumstances or among different types of people. And they also have this lovely open-minded experimental quality where they're always game to give something a try, to conduct an empirical study or troubleshoot something. They'll happily throw anything at the wall, see what sticks, gather the data and results, and then repeat. This sign is characterized by that beautiful curiosity, which is very much in keeping with the springtime youthful energy of seeking to learn all that the world has to offer. Thank you so much for listening, Gemini. Leave a like if you enjoyed this. Comment if you have any questions. Share this with your friends or other Geminis in your life. And please subscribe. I would be so happy to have you with me. One last thing I'll mention is that this is based on traditional Hellenistic astrology, developed over 2,000 years ago by the ancient Greeks and Romans with significant contributions from the Egyptians, Babylonians, Persians, and various other cultures in the surrounding areas of North Africa, South Asia, and the Arabian Peninsula. Since all of these places are situated above the equator, the seasonal associations with zodiac signs are from a northern hemisphere perspective. So So a common question is, if I was born a Gemini in the southern hemisphere, does that mean I should pay more attention to the seasonal symbology of autumn since the seasons are opposite? The short answer is no. The original meanings apply to everyone, regardless of where on the planet you were born. The long answer is a little bit more interesting. If you are seeking a deeper understanding of your sign, then it's important to know that astrology is a vastly complex symbolic language which employs the natural principle of duality. In this context, that means spring and autumn are two sides of the same coin, and I would absolutely encourage everyone to explore a little bit about the sign which is 180 degrees opposite to your own in the zodiacal wheel. In a way, this can be like holding up a sort of mirror or a negative of a photograph, an inverted image of yourself. By understanding our opposite, we can often gain a deeper understanding of our own soul. Gemini is opposite to the sign Sagittarius, and I will leave a link to the Sagittarius seasonal video in the description below if you want to check that out.